Ba, ba, da, 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 da. I don't care. Don't care. Do, 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 do. Hi, everyone. Nice to be back. I'm having a sip of my delicious warm beverage. And I'm not alone today. It's nice. Lachlan Cross joins me. Hey, dude. Nice to see you. What has it been, like 3 weeks? 3 weeks
It's
since
been
we've done a podcast?
a
3 weeks.
while. Yeah, because
Yeah, you went to your daughter's wedding, right?
So
you
I had
were gone for
I
like
had
a week
2
and a half,
weeks,
2 weeks. Yeah.
and I completely unplugged.
Yeah.
And
Great.
you went to Portugal.
Uh-huh.
And did this go out? Did you tag me on your YouTube or your Twitter?
Yep. Sure
Let me
did.
go to your Twitter
Just
here.
Go to the Twitter. Yeah, thanks. Do a little social
want-
media in the middle of a
it's-
start of a fucking
sorry.
podcast. It's awesome.
It's just been a while since we've done it, so we lost our flow.
Yeah. I just thought you just logged on, and I realized when I logged on, everything has changed. Everybody touched all the buttons. I've been like pressing all the buttons. Listen, technology's awesome. You can do all kinds of things with technology.
Here we
But
go.
I can tell you this is that when I came back having podcasts for 3 weeks, apologize everybody. I was doing the business of business. We got a partner in Portugal called Benfica. We do some work for a beautiful company called Clancy World Digital NFTs. So I was over there, didn't podcast. Well, that's not true. James Sharman and I, a couple other guys like Jeff Nesker, we'd podcast, but we would like record them, blah, 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 blah. But we haven't done like a live podcast in like what, 3 weeks? It's got to be 3 weeks.
There we go. I'm all dealt with. There you go.
All right, you're good.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just make sure that we get it out there so that people can log in, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm against Dean doesn't record them with me because I'm anti-recording podcast.
Yeah, I know you.
I'm like, why are we doing this? Go live.
Like, yeah, so we're live now. Does it tickle your fancy? Are you happy?
I am, yeah. I did miss you. I did miss you, brother. I did, yeah.
You know what? We've got a fancy relationship, don't we? Because you and I, super tight, but we don't need to talk for 3 weeks, and we can just jump back into it. You know how like over time goes by with certain friends, right? This happened during the pandemic. I got like a few friends. It's like, well, I don't want to be your friend anymore because you didn't call me for like 3 months. And I'm like, oh, that's close.
Oh, really?
Year,
to be honest, you will. Yeah. Those words will never come out of my mouth.
Thank you.
If anything, I'll thank you for not calling me for 3 months.
Just to give me some time off.
I've always realized the importance of a break from me.
Me too. That's why I like sleeping at 8 p.m. I get sick of my shit so much. I have to go to bed. But no, like that is like you're one.
Can I weigh in on that?
Well, let me give me a sec. That's one of the beautiful things about a good relationship. When you have a great relationship with somebody, whether it be a friend or a female where you connect, you know what I mean by connecting, right?
Yeah.
Coitus. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't see each other for a while, and you can pick up right where you left off. But like Lachlan, who wants to tell a quick story, which won't be quick. Go ahead. What did you want to weigh in on? You want to say something?
I have conversations with people in this business all the time about just being yourself, right? And that's the thing that I think that you and we've learned to exist in our own skin, and we're comfortable with who we are. Do we make mistakes? Do we chew on things? All of that. Yes. But I think the difference between you and I and maybe other people in this business is that we're comfortable coming on here and presenting an idea or whatever and standing behind it, even if somebody isn't comfortable with that.
Yep.
And I can see people all the time. I can hear it in their voice. I can just, it oozes out of them in their presentation, whether they're on TV, on a podcast, on radio. If you get the sense that somebody isn't quite comfortable with who they are, and it drives me crazy because
they're awkward. Those people, like you're around them where you're not comfortable in your own skin, and they're a little bit. And I feel sorry for them. It was me probably as a teenager in my 20s and 30s. Then you settle into who you are, and you're like, I don't give a shit what people think of me. I'm just going to act how I act and do what I do. But guys like you and I tend to go overboard, and we don't trust ourselves in certain situations, right? That's like you and me.
Do I think that I'm fucking? No, I am not perfect. I am not. And am I working on myself? Absolutely. I'm trying, but I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah.
You hear it in our leader, the leader of this country. You can feel that he's not comfortable with himself. And it kind of explains Trump a little bit, because he is so comfortable with who he is. He can step up to a stump and lie his ass off, and people gravitate towards it because they get the sense that he's authentic. He's an authentic asshole.
Yeah.
Lying asshole. And people are gravitating to it and actually think that he might be telling the truth because he's so convincing.
Well, we got news there, don't we, about Donald Trump? Like big news. The biggest news that we've been waiting for, I've been waiting for. Call your attention back a couple years ago where Mr. Cross and I started this beautiful venture. And he's like, he'll never do a day in jail. Ever, 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 ever. I'm like,
I still believe that.
Never do a day in jail. Yesterday, Donald Trump was charged with racketeering, along with 18 of his closest criminal asshole friends, including one guy who does a lot of work for the Conservative Party of Canada, named Mike Roman. We'll get to that in just a second.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Canadian connection.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
There's a huge Canadian connection to this. So this is what we're going to let people in on today. So Donald Trump was charged with racketeering. Now, you might be sitting there as a Canadian.
And how many other charges?
41. 161 in total, 41 for the Great Orange Freak. And it is not good. Racketeering is one of those things when you get caught racketeering, right?
Conspiracy.
It's conspiracy as a gang, organized crime.
Yeah.
So he was charged as the head of an organized crime unit that featured 18 other people who also got indicted because they have very thick evidence as to what they did. Text messages about fucking with voting machines to try and win elections, to steal the election, to get fake electors. It's out there. It happened. It's real, right? So yesterday, this beautiful lady named Fannie Willis, she's the DA. She's a fire starter this morning. Zero fucking fear in Fannie Willis, the Georgia DA. Let me play this for you because you're going to love it. It's a few minutes where she's reading the names of everybody and how fucking serious this is. Like dude, racketeering and RICO law, Canada does not have RICO laws because they're like, whoa, that's intense. Like we don't want to do racketeering laws.
We have something similar to that because they've had to use similar type charges against organized crime out, but we don't have like a RICO Act.
No, we don't. Canada does not have an organized crime law. It's like, hey, did you commit crime? Did you commit it with these people? But in the United States, they've got this thing called the RICO Act. And the RICO Act is a racketeering act that says, hey, listen, if you operated to defraud anybody as a group, you're a fucking gang of losers and we're going to come get you. And the mandatory minimum for anybody in the United States for racketeering, the mandatory minimum, 5 long years, baby. 5 beautiful long years.
And the RICO charges, doesn't that come with 20 years?
The RICO, depending on the level of criminality, yes, and what they got away with. Yeah. You know, like organized crime, meaning, hey, you got to support us, send us money because they stole the election. $800 million you stole from people. So there's that. And then there's like, hey, you got to show up January 6th. You got to run into the fucking Congress. You got to tell them to stop because we got the real votes here. That's called a coup. It's treason. It's sedition. It's all those things. So here's the best part is there is no immunity in state law, right? It's in Georgia. They can tell Donald Trump, they can tell Mark Meadows, they can tell any one of those pieces of shit, hey, buddy, you got to come to jail. You got to come directly to jail. You're going to sit here until the trial. And that's what they have to do, to the point where Fannie Willis was like, hey, I'm giving you all 1 week to turn yourselves in or we will fucking
arrest I heard you. That.
Did you hear
They
that?
have until noon on Friday.
Let's play a little bit of that.
This Friday. They
noon,
have to turn themselves in by this Friday.
Yeah.
Or they go after them.
Yeah, they'll come and haul.
Do you think Trump's a flight risk?
Just a little bit. There are a lot of flight risks. Dude, Rudy Giuliani, the fucking godfather of RICO law. He was the guy that used it to actually catch bad guys.
New York.
To some great extent in New York. He got caught up.
He got rid of organized crime in New York. Now it's coming back. There's going to be a lot of people in prison that are going to be very excited about the idea of him coming.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine Rudy in a cell next to an organized crime boss who really likes his prison wallet? That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Anyway, here's Fannie Willis. A couple minutes of her reading some sweet names. Watch this.
Yes. I'm here with the prosecutors and investigators who have worked diligently on the investigation of criminal attempts to interfere in the administration of Georgia's 2020 presidential election. Today, based on information developed by that investigation, a Fulton County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment, charging 19 individuals with violations of Georgia law arising from a criminal conspiracy to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in this state. The indictment includes 41 felony counts and is 97 pages long. Please remember that everyone charged in this bill of indictment is presumed innocent. Specifically, the indictment brings felony charges against Donald John Trump, Rudolph William Louis Giuliani, John Charles Eastman, Mark Randall Meadows, John Cheeseborough, Jeffrey Clark, Jenna Lynn Ellis, Ray Stallings Smith III, Robert David Cheeley, Michael A. Roman, David James Schaefer, Sean Micah Tresher Steele, Stephen Cliffgard Lee, Harrison William Prescott Floyd, Travion C. Cootie, Sydney Catherine Powell, Kathleen Austin Latham, Scott Graham Hall, and Misty Hampton, also known as Emily Misty Hayes. Every individual charged in the indictment is charged with one count of violating Georgia's Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act through participation in a criminal enterprise in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere to accomplish the illegal goal of allowing Donald J. Trump to seize the presidential term of office beginning on January 20th, 21.
Suck on that.
Can I make some observations?
Sure you can, but let me just add this one little clip in here. I'm just adding this one little clip.
Yeah.
At the end of that press conference, it was like 10 minutes long. It's like a couple minutes from Fani Willis. She's the DA in Georgia. Someone said, hey, listen, these people aren't allowed to stay out on probie, are they? They're not allowed to like bail out and stay out of jail. Listen to her answer. And Donald J. Trump was the first name, and he was named as the criminal mastermind behind this racketeering indictment. So let's just have a listen, shall we?
Subsequent to the indictment, as is the normal process in Georgia law, the grand jury issued arrest warrants for those who are charged. I am giving the defendants the opportunity to voluntarily surrender no later than noon on Friday, the 25th day of August, 2023.
Hear that? 25th day of August, 2023.
So I got two things. One, I love it when they read their full names out because they sound like such losers. Eh?
Donald John Trump, Rudy John Louis Giuliani. How did Louis
sound
make
like
his way
such
into Rudolph Giuliani? Such a fucking nerd.
They sound like such losers.
Honky names, too. Just stupid white guy names like John Fritzlwick the Fourth. Fucking stupid idiot.
Okay, the other thing, I saw something earlier today. Somebody was responding to Rudy Giuliani's comments that he thought it was ridiculous that this Fani Willis thought she was going to prosecute and get all this done in 6 months. So they asked somebody who actually works at the courthouse in Georgia, who is aware of Fani Willis and her reputation. Apparently, you do not mess with this woman. Like,
No.
I don't know her. I've never heard of her until this week.
Yeah.
But apparently she is a
Means business
nonsense
Yeah.
person.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy, it was so funny. They were like, so what do you think about you work in Georgia. You were in that courthouse. You know Fanny. You know her reputation. Do you think there's a chance that she can get this done in 6 months? And he burst out laughing.
Because she's an assassin. She's like a weapon. She's like not fucking around.
There is no chance this is going to get delayed.
No.
Like they're going to.
It might even get moved up because of the severity of it. Because now what they're doing is they're matching legal proceedings. So they're looking at the whole total of like how the criminality. To my understanding, that's 161 indictments surrounding this man.
Yeah, I keep hearing
Federal.
that. But I don't know how it works with prioritizing, because he's got 4 now, right? And 3 are federal and 1 is a state, or have I got that wrong?
Yeah, I think the RICO indictments are state indictments, but from my understanding, which is limited of how the U.S. legal system works, is that anybody can go first. It might go, and Fannie Willis said that yesterday.
I thought
like,
maybe
I might
the
go first. I might go last. I don't care. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Because it's federal? I
but
don't know.
when here's the point. Someone's like, hey, can these people go on probation or they go to jail? She's like, no, man, they fucking go to jail. Watch this.
Keeping us safe over the weeks and months that have led up to this indictment, and for what I know they will continue to do to keep us safe. We also want to thank the Atlanta Police Department and other law enforcement partners who have worked with the sheriff to keep us safe. I will now take a very limited number of questions prior to going to sleep.
I'll go first. If you don't mind, Surveil 11 to 11 alive. Quick question: can you clarify in Georgia the mandatory minimum when it comes to RICO charges, whether it's servable by probation or how that might play out?
The RICO charges has time that you have to serve, so it is not a probated sentence.
So
RICO
thing.
laws, you break RICO laws, you have to serve that time. That time for being caught guilty, the minimum time, 5 long years in a federal, pound you in the you-know-what prison. So
the other thing about this that's interesting is, and I didn't know this until we had mentioned it on the air last week, about whether or not there would be any cameras in the courthouse. And somebody who knows a little bit more about it than I do commented that we probably won't get cameras for the federal indictments.
Yeah.
But
the state ones we will. Yeah.
In Georgia, they can rule to put TV cameras in them. So that'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be watching that with glee.
You know what else is interesting? There is a major connection to Canada's Conservative Party.
See, I didn't know this until you had mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, I didn't know that till this morning. I was doing some reading. A gentleman's name is Mike Roman. You heard her read his name in there, Michael D. Roman, who is the assistant chairman of Stephen Harper's International Democratic Union, IDU, which is a right-wing think tank that goes around making friends with Viktor Orban, dictators in fascist religious countries. These guys are big fans of Putin as well, as you know. Mike Roman was indicted yesterday. There's a warrant out for his arrest. Now, not only is Mike Roman a good friend and the vice chairman of the IDU, where Stephen Harper is the chairman, that he's since been removed, as you can see, because they can't have that. Mike Roman was the treasurer of the IDU, so he took care of all the money at the IDU. And what else did Mike do? There you go. Mike was also a campaign operative and charged with in Georgia, helping Trump overturn the 2020 election. It says Roman was Trump's director on election day operations in the former president's 2020 re-election campaign, according to the Communications Service last year, by the investigation of the Congressional Committee that handled the legwork around organizing 7 slates of fake electors. What else did Mike Roman do? Mike
Canadian?
Roman also was a huge fan. Yeah, no, he's not.
Okay.
He's an American operative who is very good friends. One of his best friends is a gentleman named Andrew Scheer. Another good friend of Mike Roman's is Pierre Poilievre, another very good friend of Mike Roman's, who was charged yesterday with racketeering, as you could see. Where's his name? Mike Roman. There you are, Mike. How you doing? Michael A. Roman. There he is. Was also Andrew Scheer's press secretary and messaging director when he was trying to become the prime minister of Canada. So this has a uniquely Canadian flavor to it and a Canadian touch where they're going to start pulling on these strings here in Canada if they already haven't. And I can guarantee you this information was shared with the Canadian government as well. And I can also guarantee you that not only is he on the radar, but now the U.S. authorities, because this guy was caught being part of an organized political crime unit, racketeering charges, and he has direct ties to working with and for the Conservative Party of Canada and your friend Danielle Smith in Alberta, things are going to get very interesting. This is one of those things that will fly under the radar in the United States and will be huge news up here in Canada.
Will it though?
Because of this man's absolutely. It already
it might
is.
not be.
Already
it might
is.
not be. And I'll tell you why. Because I think there's ongoing conversation in every newsroom, in every media outlet across the country to limit how much they talk about Trump because they know how sick the audience is of it.
I think this is different.
This might be a bit different. I'll give you that. But yeah. I know for a fact that any newsroom, they sit down and they go, oh, Jesus, how do we handle this?
How do we make chicken soup out of chicken shit? Because we know everybody is so fatigued on the Trump bullshit, right? Like that's been the thing that we see in our analytics. Yeah. Everybody's super tired of combat content. Everybody's really tired of like Donald Trump. Everybody's tired.
And that started years ago. Those conversations, even with us, like a show where it's irreverent and we're trying to have fun, and we, the locker room, we try to keep things, less serious. But obviously we've started talking about Trump again. It's such huge news. But even we had conversations about people are done. Like, are they driving in the morning and you go on, you start talking about Trump, and are they punching out because they're just so fatigued about it? And
you know what? It's funny because when this whole thing started and I called you to do a podcast today, and we've stayed away from this content for a long time, haven't been podcasting for a couple weeks, took a little bit of a summer break. I'm like, I'm all in again. Like
I'm reignited too.
Yeah, big time. I'm fucking all over this content now. Yeah, it's lit a fire. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Because of those threads they're going to start pulling on. Because I'm very interested in those and how it ties into the convoy, how it ties into fascism here, how it ties into the conservatives here, because it is. Like the Georgia indictment, 18 people on racketeering charges, includes a man, and more than one, that have connections, communications, and do work for the Conservative Party of Canada. And Mike Roman is just one guy. There are 30 other unnamed co-conspirators in there.
Okay, I didn't know that. So this is just the first.
Yes. This is the first swath of charges. And then they got a bunch of 30 unnamed co-conspirators who are like, okay, well, listen, don't put my name out there. I'll tell you anything you want. Just fucking leave me. You're going to start seeing people sing. And when that happens, and I have it on good authority from people in law enforcement, that what is happening in the United States, when they start pulling on those strings, when they start pulling on those threads, you're going to start seeing people run for the hills in Canada, in Turkey, in different countries where conservatism and that fascist right-wing bullshit seems to be the roux of the day.
Yeah.
Any connection to Donald Trump, Ukraine, Putin, Russia, like you're going to see, there are people in this country in politics, specifically on the conservative side, who have been sharing people, like they've been sharing people with their expertise, like Mike Roman. They've been sharing playbooks. They've been sharing money. They've been sending each other money. They've been legitimately building this fortress of lies, fortress of bullshit, and fortress of racketeering to try to convince everybody that the reality you live in doesn't work. Well, let me tell you something. And I said this morning, and I'll say this again. Then we'll move on to Taylor Swift because I think it's awesome. Lies are fun, but they are never sustainable. Like we have sat here, you and I have sat here going, how the fuck is this possible? How can that guy, like, how? Now you're seeing why people, when they lie and they get caught, bad things happen. You can push the lie. You can push the consequence of lying off for a while. It might be a year, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, doesn't matter. But eventually it comes back. every lie about the big lie, every lie about
Yeah.
your reality, every lie about every other government, every lie about someone being the only person that can save you from big government, like all the lies, they've all been lies. You're
Yeah.
lied to by politicians every day in this country. You're lied to down there. But that man, what happened yesterday, we're going to see some strings get pulled, and you're going to start to see this thing unravel, and it is going to touch Canada in a very
That's
meaningful
interesting
way.
I did
Yeah.
not know this. Like I said,
Oh, yeah.
we didn't have a pre-conversation today because you and I were both busy. So this is new information to me. So I'm excited. You've even made me more excited about this Trump stuff. I still don't think he's going to go to jail. I still think that is a long shot in this whole thing. Here's my theory on the indictment so far and all of the charges, the 61 charges. I think they sat down in a room, although I would have liked to have seen the camera on the room with the donuts and the coffee in the corner and a big round table and like 25 lawyers sitting around digesting all this information. And then someone goes, you know what? I think we might have racketeering charges in this. And then everyone getting really excited, jumping up and down, right? They've been sitting there for hours and they needed it. It was better than a cup of coffee or a Monster energy drink. And everyone's like, woo! So here's my thing. I think they threw the kitchen sink at them in the hopes that something sticks. So like I said, because I don't think he's going to go to jail doesn't mean I don't want him to. I would love to see them shackle that fat horn bastard up and drag him off to prison. It would make my day. However, I just don't think we live in that world. Unfortunately, I just don't. And I think it is concerning them that every time he gets indicted, his approval rating to take over the Republican Party again and run for president in 2024 goes up.
It goes up. Yeah. Well, dude, I'll tell you this: Democrats and any liberal that lives in the United States that hates that man's guts, and I hate him for other reasons other than labels we put on politicians. Like I just hate him because he's a lying sack.
He's just a lying sack of shit.
He's just got the character of a fucking serial killer. Like he does everything bad and it gets rewarded for it. Who hates any more than that than me? Find him for me, and I'll be shocked. But the fascinating part now is going to be whether or not people get re-engaged, like you and I are re-engaged in this. Like, I think it's the greatest story of the year. Like, I really do. Yeah. And I think Taylor Swift is the number 2 story. We'll get to that in a second. But I think this is the biggest story of the year. Like, the president of the United States has been outed as a fucking organized crime boss, which everybody called him. Like, then we'll find out what other shit that he did. Like, we only know that they have evidence and took it to a grand jury, which is the other part, which is interesting in the States. When a grand jury charges you before you get a chance to represent yourself, they do so under an overwhelming mountain of evidence, like overwhelming, because you don't have a chance to prove your innocence before you're charged or before you're indicted. They've indicted them, 18 of them, 19 including him, and 30 other people who are on the docket were like, you're next. You come talk to us and you tell us what you know about these losers, and you might get out of jail free. It's happening. Like,
you know what?
It is on. And this is just one of 4 indictments for doing stuff like this, whether it's trying January 6th, whether it's tax evasion, whether it's lying to the fucking tax guy, all that stuff. I mean, it's just money laundering. Every bad thing you can imagine that man did that he was accused of doing, he's done.
Yeah.
And he's getting hauled out for it, and it's consequence time, and I fucking live for this stuff. Live for it.
So the one thing that I was really surprised about, and I'd heard it tossed around, but I wasn't sure how much substance there was to it. But I watched one of those Sunday night Anderson Cooper, like they do an hour and they dig into a story, and they did the whole thing on the fake electorates, and I had no idea how involved it was. Right, like you've heard it over the last couple
I watched
of years.
That special. Yeah, they tabbed people in different states to give fake sheets of paper, fake electorate saying Donald Trump won. The numbers were different. These are the real numbers. So they tried to legitimately change out the tally at the end with fake electors signing them.
Yes.
Like they try in like 11 states.
And he's
Michigan,
been going
Arizona,
on and
Georgia.
on and on about how the election was fixed and he was trying to fix it.
Yeah. And they have evidence of it. They have evidence of it, like mountains of it.
He might be fucked. Who knows? Anyway,
so
here's
fucked,
the other
dude.
thing. I'm going to give you one more thing to look forward to. Okay.
Sure.
And I think we should all, everybody listening and watching right now, needs to do this. Okay. Apparently, the Fulton County Commissioner was asked whether or not he was going to release, like they do a mugshot. And I guess Trump has gotten away with not having that in the last 3. They haven't done it. They haven't released it. So the Fulton County Commissioner not only said, am I taking a mugshot of this fat bastard, but I'm also going to release it with his age, his height, and his weight on it.
It's the little petty things that I love about this whole fucking load. Like, it's stuff like that where people who have hated on this guy, they're in a position to make him look bad, and everybody associated with like Rudy Giuliani, where they're like taking great pride in like, oh yeah, don't worry, and you're gonna learn how tall he really is and how much that fat fuck actually weighs.
Okay, and I got 317. I'm going with 317 pounds. What are you going with?
294.
294? That's a really good guess.
It's 290. I'm gonna go 294 because I know I weigh 204. And I know at my heaviest, I was in like that. Yeah, this is funny. Like the 290 to 312 range. I was like in there. My heaviest.
You danced around it.
Yeah. I danced around it, but I wore size appropriate clothes, unlike him, where he tucks his fucking clothes in like an idiot, right? Like you just tell he's a super fat.
He's got 303. He's $3. I'm sorry, I had to.
You think he's 300?
Yeah,
300 pounds.
Yeah. I think he is. He's carrying a lot of weight, and he's shaped. He's shaped like a bag of milk. So
his feelings a lot.
Yeah, I love this. I don't know why I'm more excited about his weight being released than I am about him being charged. But that's just, that's my.
Because it's one of those lies. Remember the lie that he told when he got his physical that day? It
was 217.
Donald Trump is 198 pounds with 0% fat. And he might live till he's 230, and everybody's like, is that the fucking White House doctor?
Unbelievable. All right,
by
Taylor
the way,
Swift.
hang on, that Dr. Ronnie Jackson that said that he was 200 pounds or 198 pounds and was like shaped like Adonis. He got arrested, wasted in front of his house yesterday, fucking hammered, because he's drinking his feelings too, because he knows it's coming. Like the fucking wheels are falling off. Taylor Swift. I missed the announcement of her tour. I watched because it was busy. I was working. I was in Portugal. You were away. I missed the big tour. Not coming to Canada. Everybody freaks out. Prime Minister freaks out. Taylor, come to Canada. The MPs freak out. Taylor, I can't believe you're not coming to Canada. We're going to send you a letter that says you should come to Canada for our. Just stupid. Just fucking ridiculousness. Now, keep in mind, I do not listen to Taylor Swift as a rule. However, I have listened to Taylor Swift, and I find her music to be okay. Bubblegummy, fun, unoffensive, interesting, all about how many times she's broken up with guys. They broke up with her, how bad she is at relationships. It's just like this.
I don't even know that.
How terrible she is with a dude.
You sound like you listen a lot more than you're willing to admit here. You're breaking down meanings of songs.
Yeah, I am. Like, Come Back, Be Here. It's a song about getting on an airplane and not being able to see your boyfriend in 15 different cities. And I'm like, this is unrealistic. How many fucking relationships start out in London and someone getting on a plane and going to New York and not being able to see them?
Are you a fan?
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. But
why do you know so much? Why do you know so much about her music?
Someone sent me some songs recently because I was like shocked at the fucking Taylor Swift mania. Like, I didn't see it coming. And I'm like, what's up with this Taylor Swift? So this person sends me some songs and I'm like, I still don't get it. And they're like, you don't get it? You're not a Swiftie? And I'm like, I don't even know what that means, because 31 million Canadians signed up to get tickets to one of 6 shows she's putting on in one city. This city, the city of Toronto, one of 6 shows.
She's doing 6 in Toronto?
6 shows in this
and
city
nowhere else in Canada.
Nowhere else, because the Rogers Center, she's like, I don't play small venues of 30,000 anymore. I only play 50, 60,000 seat venues. You can jam like 60,000 people into the Rogers Center with seats on the field and all the other stuff. So, bottom line, I didn't get it. And then I saw 31 million people signed up for this stuff. And I'm like, I still don't get it. And then I did a little reading. Is that this is the biggest tour in the history of tours. It is the biggest money-making tour. She makes on average 30 million a show. I'm not kidding you. That's how much she makes. You know, people make like $1 million. Her brand business brings in merch, ticket sales, all that stuff. 30 million on show days. 30 million. She just gifted all of her truckers that carried her shit 50 million, like $1 million each. There's 50 truck drivers. She's like, here you go. Here's $1 million each. Doesn't matter because I don't give a shit about money. I don't get it still. And to the point where one of our employees, Chris Rookie, our head of production, got 4 tickets in the lottery. 4. And he's been offered $15,000 a ticket. $15,000 fucking because he wrote an article about it, which is up at Crier Media. He's like, hey, I got tickets to Taylor Swift. Someone wants to give me 15 grand for them. I'll sell them. And he had offers. Yeah, I'll give you 15 grand a ticket. I'll give you $30,000 just for 3 hours of entertainment. T Swift, stand next to like 55,000 other people. What happened? At what point did Taylor Swift become like the Beatles? At what point? When did this happen? Have I not been listening to any music? I had no idea that this was a big deal. And it's not a big deal. It's the biggest hit tour in the history of tours. The whole world. Every tour. Everybody. Doesn't matter who it is.
Okay. Here's my thing. If somebody said to me, Taylor Swift.
Yes.
I like her. She's a pop princess. She writes catchy songs. I would be fine. I can understand that. There's lots of music that I don't get, but I understand its appeal. I'll give you an example. Bon Jovi. I can't stand Bon Jovi.
I hate Bon Jovi.
I never need to hear or be involved with a Bon Jovi song again in my life. But I understand it. I understand it. Taylor Swift. I've heard a couple of her songs. I couldn't name one of them. I am that far removed from the pop world.
Dude, you know how insane people are for Taylor Swift?
This is the thing that I don't get. I don't understand that level of, and not only that, I have met grown-ass men, like men that should be listening to Tool.
Yes.
Or Pearl Jam,
Nirvana,
or getting excited
Stones.
about Rage Against the Machine coming to town, and they're Taylor Swifters or whatever Swifties.
T-Swizzers.
I don't understand that outside of maybe there's a little bit of, fascination
Sexual
with
attraction.
a younger. Yeah.
She's not
Do
unattractive.
do not look at their, their Pornhub search. Right?
It'd be a bunch of
Anyway.
steaming porn. That's what it'd be.
It's I don't care. It is very weird to me.
The phenomenon.
And if Brooke doesn't take the $30,000 for those 4 tickets or whatever,
it would be
then
60.
he's an idiot.
I know. I told him that. I'm like, dude, you could go and buy like a piece of land, like just north of the city. You can just take 60 grand, go buy a piece
Put a
of land.
down payment on a house.
Totally. Well, he's got a house. Doesn't need a house. But I'm telling.
Okay.
So I saw this video
Put
yesterday.
a down payment on a rental property.
We put this out. Look at you thinking about long-term wealth. There you go. In the middle of a Taylor Swift conversation.
I got to
love
do
it.
something.
I know you do.
I'm a radio asshole.
I know. So this is a woman who was at the San Francisco Taylor Swift show. This kind of lets you into the mania. This will let you into how crazy it is because I don't get it. Let's watch it together.
I'm drunk in the back of the car, and I cry like a baby coming out from the bar. I my mother was issues. I want to keep secrets just to keep you alive. So I kept as a guarantee every night that summer just to steal my face. Oh, I scream for whatever it's worth. I love you, ain't no the worst thing you ever heard. He looks so pretty like a devil is.
I bet you she owns cats. Like 6.
Several. I bet she.
See, she hasn't been out in a while. I mean, that's her first night out in a couple years.
Look at your face. Look at the dude. The grown-ass man next to her singing along to every single lyric.
Every night that summer just to steal my face. Oh, I scream for whatever it's worth. I love you, ain't no the worst thing you ever heard. He looks so pretty like a devil.
had a
How? Like, I would love to love anything that much where you're like, I'm just gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go absolutely ape shit. And I'm gonna
Yeah,
like give away all my
I have
shame in the
moments-
middle of this show. I'm gonna go nuts.
I have moments like that too, where I'm like, I just wish I had. Like I went to Ben Harper on Sunday, and I'm not missing
One of my
Ben
favorites. The three of us.
And I have a
forever,
real-
burn one down. Gold to me.
Oh my God,
Fuck, he's good.
Yeah,
You
Glory and Consequence.
Did you go-
I love that.
You went to the show? You didn't tell me you were
I
going
did.
to
He
the
was
show. I
at-
could have come with you.
He was at the Edmonton Folk Fest, and I got media passes, and I literally drank all day Sunday at the lawn darts tournament, and I still managed to get my ass down. And then I got dragged into the hill,
Yeah.
and everyone tarps it. So I got somebody saw me and went, "Lock, get out!" So I don't even remember them because I was pretty
paparazzi.
drunk.
They were like, "Oh, there's Lock and Cross," that kind of thing, like a famous thing.
So anyway, they call me over. They're fans of the
Oh, yeah,
show, and they were
famous.
like, "You can sit here. You can
Are
watch
you
here."
big timing us? Are you
So-
telling us you're famous? Is that
No,
the
no,
whole
no,
purpose
no,
of this?
no,
Tell us you're super
no,
famous
but
in Edmonton? Yeah,
I'm
that's
telling you
what
the
I'm
story because I think you're going to find it
I
funny.
already do.
So I was dragging my scooter around with me because I didn't want to
That's right, 'cause you're
drive
a hippie
because I
now.
had been drinking all day.
Sure, yeah.
So I had my scooter,
Motorized.
I
scooter,
parked it-
by the way.
scooter at the Edmonton Folk Fest, had it locked up. I walk up the hill,
Lachlan
get
Cross
called
and
over to this
scooter at
tarp.
the Edmonton Folk Fest. That is fucking awesome. Way to go. Continue. Sorry.
Okay, so anyway, I'm sitting there and I didn't want to be rude. There was a joint going around. So I took a toke.
You're at a Ben Harper show. You have to.
I thought, what not? Why not?
Yeah.
Right? If anything, it'll enhance the experience. I got so baked. Dean, I had to walk my scooter home. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to get home. I couldn't even get on it.
Too stoned to scooter? Is that what you
I
were?
was too stoned to scooter. The whole time I'm walking it going, I think I should be able to get on this. No, I didn't have it in me. I literally, but I kept my helmet on just for
the whole
safety.
helmet.
So on Sunday night, if you saw
Yeah.
a 6'4", 50-year-old-ish looking man
Yeah.
walking home with a bike helmet on and pushing a scooter, that's what was going on
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Well, that was you. That was you, was it? The scene itself sets me on fire.
Yeah.
Love to see you in a scooter with your fucking bike helmet on after smoking a joint.
I don't know
80
what was in that
it wasn't
joint,
the
but
joint. It was like the
slammed
78
me.
beers you had before the joint. They tend to work together.
there was a lot of
Yeah, well,
drinking.
there you go. That's the whole idea. Before I let you go, you know what else happened when we were gone? Justin Trudeau and his wife split.
Yeah.
We call that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, we mentioned that
Prime Minister single pants now. He's on the scene.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what's sad about that situation. And this is coming from somebody who does not like him and has very little time for him as a leader. I'm wildly concerned about what the alternative is to him. But I think that man may be gay, and that I feel bad for a man who is in his 50s who has had to live a life as somebody else and not be true to himself. And this is not me being a dick. I'm not trying to be funny. I think that, and we've heard enough rumors from behind the scenes that it might be true.
You don't know that though.
No, we don't know that, and it's none of our business.
Right.
But it's unfortunate that we live in a world where he can't be himself. And I'm not being a dick.
No, but if you don't
I'm
know,
being
I
serious
know.
about
But
that.
my point is, if you don't know, then we don't know
But
who
if it's
his
true,
true self is.
That's fucking sad. Don't you think
Dude,
that?
anybody in a shitty relationship, right? If you're not with the right person because you want to be with someone else, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who it is. And listen, we didn't see Sophie Trudeau out and about for a long time because she was a colossal embarrassment on the stage. Like she just was. And if I'm not fucking telling things out of school. Remember she started singing about Martin Luther King and it was like a song to her kids and everybody's like, get her off the stage. Bottom line, whether or not he is straight or gay, whether or not he's in love with someone else or not, doesn't matter who the person is.
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for
Yeah.
you as a happily divorced individual. with my children who are adults kind of running around the house. They'll hear this. They'll be like, yeah, divorce is awesome because you're the best now. As a happily divorced individual, being in a relationship with anyone you don't like is a terrible thing for you.
Yes.
Fucking awful, right? Awful. Especially if you don't like that person for specific sets of reasons. Maybe they're annoying, maybe you're not attracted to them, maybe you like someone else. Doesn't matter what you like. Maybe you're into a blonde, a redhead, a dude, a chick. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you're into.
Yeah.
You do you. You be you. Boo. Right? That's it. That's how I feel. It's how you feel. You and I are both very similar that way. We don't have any issues when it comes to any hangups and stuff like that.
Well, and if he did, let's say he does come out of the closet and he runs as a gay man, I think he would win.
I think he's going to win regardless of his sexual preference.
You know what? I think you're right. The longer this goes and the more we learn about the conservatives, I truly believe that if he did, and again, I don't know for a fact, I just have a sense that he isn't who he isn't true to himself. And I think that's
if you're
part
in a
of the
shitty
reason
relationship,
why
you're never true to yourself. Like if you're staying in a marriage that sucks and you haven't seen Justin and Sophia for a long time. And that's the other thing. It was like, it was amazing to watch everybody pile on, right? Like amazing. And if the same thing happened to anybody else, like if Pierre Poilievre and his beard or wife, whatever you want to call her, and they broke up, I'd be like, leave them alone. Yeah, it's just fucking, because everybody.
Yeah, it's none of our business. I just think it's sad that we live in a world where let's say
people gloated, and then he made the mistake of going to the Barbie movie wearing a pink shirt with his son. Both of them wearing pink shirts. Everybody's like, that's it. He's coming out of the closet. Brett Wilson, guy that dresses like a clown, pink jumpsuits, pink hats, pink pants. Brett Wilson, guy in Alberta. You know Brett. Goes all in. He's like, I can't believe this is our prime minister. I'm like, dude, have you fucking seen how you dress? Like, everybody, and it's this concerted effort.
Who cares what movie he goes to? Who cares if he wears pink?
Nobody gives a shit. But they used all that stuff to jump over to the discussion about his sexual preference, and everybody deciding that, hey, this is what I think. You couch it perfectly. You're like, hey, listen, and I don't agree with you. However, I don't know, so I'm unwilling to say anything I'm unaware of. I'm unwilling.
I'm just suggesting, whether you agree with me or don't. Whether you agree with me or don't agree with me. I think there's this underlying belief, and I have known about a couple of politicians that have hidden their true preference sexually from the general public because they're concerned about whether or not they would get votes. And I think it's fucking sad. We had a situation where I interviewed a politician quite a few years ago, and it was rumored that he was gay. It's still rumored that he was gay. And they were trying to get me to find a way to ask him a question to get him out of the closet. And I'm like, how would I even remotely get around to that? Like, and I said, one, it's none of my business, but two, I said, it's absolutely asinine that we live in a world where somebody can't actually be who they really want to be when they're running for fucking politics. And we might start there with what's wrong with the world we live in right now. Like, and that's the thing that I was thinking about when this happened, because that I believe that he might be. And like I said, I don't care if he is, but I think that's sad. Whether you like the man or dislike the man, I think it's fucking sad.
You know what's sad is that they use that.
He hid.
Totally. And if he did, it's his business. But you know what's really sad is that people in certain areas of this country with certain intelligence quotients or lack thereof, using him as a punching bag to tell everybody he's a gay person, to tell and his son, and to use that as a pejorative, then to paint the entire community as something that you should be aware of, or that was the fucking grossest shit I have seen in a long time. And people I know and used to like were like leading the charge. Brett Wilson, one of them. Human garbage. I know so much about Brett Wilson, it would turn your fucking hair green. The things he does at night, the people he texts, who he texts with, when he texts them, what works on him and what doesn't, and how sad he is about all that stuff, and how he takes that out on the people around him. He is morphed into a terrible fucking human being who has no problem sewering anybody in a marginalized community if it means he can be a big dog again, which he knows he isn't because he knows he's got some serious health issues. And I don't want to go any further than that because I'm not going to do that to that guy. I'm just going to tell you this, is that I was embarrassed as a Canadian watching all these people line up to tell me, to tell you, well, look at that. Guy's a liar. He's gay. Fuck you. Fuck all.
Yeah, it's not about lying. It's about the fact that I think it's a strategy.
No information.
Yeah, and again,
because he wore pink.
Listen,
because he got divorced. Whatever. Eligible bachelor.
That's not why I think he might be. It's based on conversations I've had over the years in our business, right? And again, you've had the same conversations that I've had. Yeah. So I mean, I don't care. I just think it's sad that we live in a world. No, it doesn't matter. No. And you know what? The thing is, I hope we can get to a point in the world that we live in where we can just be more honest about how we actually feel about things instead of sitting down. And I'm taking sexuality out of this conversation. There's so many conversations now about what you're supposed to think and how you're supposed to think and the audience you drag in. And I think that's the biggest problem with politics. And it's an American style politics, but we're doing it in Canada, right? Instead of having open conversations about what's happening in the world, we're sitting there strategically thinking about how to say something in order to not offend, or like this whole thing in the States, watching the other candidates so concerned about losing the Trump support that they're unwilling to attack the man.
Yeah, unwilling to talk about pure criminality. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. It's amazing. It is
absolutely insane.
Yeah. But
right?
We're going to start pulling all those strings. You're going to see where all that hatred comes from. And it comes from a cabal of people, cabal of religious losers and maniacs, a bunch of low IQ individuals that are following those religious maniacs and conservatives. And we're going to talk about it. It is starting, and I love it. And that's how this is going to affect. Like, all of this stuff is going to work together. All of it. The social media shit you see, the hatred we see driven, all that stuff. It's going to work together. And you're going to see all this stuff come out, and it'll flower, and everybody will be like, oh, that's where that come from. That's who started the convoy. That's who sent money in the Give, Send, Go thing. That's who hates Canada. That's who hates democracy. Yes, all of those people hate each other, and they hate you, and they all have the same agenda. And dude, it's like we can sit here in both sides politics and stuff like that, right? We can do it. Like, well, I know I have zero respect for any person in politics. None. Not even your boy Mike Lake. Got none. Zero. None. But the way that the right is carried on, how they've continually demeaned different groups and use different groups and marginalized groups and people whose journeys are very difficult, like the LGBTQ community, and then to use that as a cudgel and to make people feel bad about being themselves. And then on top of it, to use that as a springboard of hatred when a man takes his son to a fucking Barbie movie and wears a pink shirt. I mean, that's my issue. And I can't wait until those guys are faced. The Andrew Scheers, the Ontario Prouds, everybody that drives that hatred. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to happen. And it's going to happen very, very, very soon, which I'm really excited about. And I'm also excited Sophie Gregoire is on the market. I'm not saying there's not a chance, but there might be. Can marry into that Trudeau money.
Yeah. I just hope that we find the people that are starting all the forest fires.
Out in Alberta. You guys found him yet? I know there's a bunch of guys with guns who are running around the forest.
We don't need to get into it, but I actually had that conversation at a family reunion not long ago.
Did you really? Yeah, someone from your family thinks that someone's running around lighting fires?
Well, in a roundabout way. Family, yes. Yeah.
Oh, I got that in my family too. Don't worry about it. I got full QAnon in my family. Packing the RV with dried meats. Let's head for the hills. That kind of shit. I'm like, all right, well, see you later. Have a great life. Don't need to see you anymore. Anyway, thanks for doing this, dude.
Yeah.
Fun to get back together. Yeah.
Yeah. Really. Are we going to put together a more regular schedule?
Probably not.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
You just
yeah.
let me know when we're
Well,
go.
it's Tuesday. We'll get back to Wednesday and Friday this week is what we'll do.
Okay.
Wednesday, Friday. We didn't do Monday. I did David Wallace Monday. That was a bananas interview. Bananas about Doug Ford stealing a whole bunch of land, giving it to his mob construction pals. That's a great story. Maybe we'll get to that on Wednesday. We'll bring David Wallace back to make everybody shit their pants. I love me a little.
Yeah, the stuff that comes out of his mouth, and he says it so nonchalantly.
Yeah.
That was the thing. And I'm like, hold on. And he just floods, like he opens the floodgates, right? The couple of times I've been involved in interviews with him, it was just like, and you're like, whoa, stop.
Slow down.
Stop.
I'm
Stop.
scared.
We need to go back to the first thing you said.
Yeah.
You just jumped over 9 hurdles.
Yeah. Political fixer. He knows where all the bodies are. I love that about him.
Yeah.
Love it. Anyway, we'll see you on Wednesday, tomorrow. 4
Tomorrow?
o'clock. Yeah. You in or you out? You in or out?
Look at that. I'm in.
All right.
I'm in. I'm in.
All right, buddy. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Is your girlfriend in town though? Because that could lead to a cancel. Okay, then it's gonna happen, everybody.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah.
I do appreciate the fact that you've been spending time with a lady. So that's good.
Thank you for doing that in a live podcast. That's great.
This is why I love live, buddy.
This is why I want to move to recorded, actually. I can take these things out. Sweat pouring down my back right now. Thank you for that. That's a lot of fun.
I do. Just so you know, I made a point of not remembering her name so that I wouldn't say that, because people keep asking me what her name is.
No, they don't.
I'm like, I don't know. I blocked that one out because I knew if he told me, I would have spit it out.
I would never tell you. That's the thing. I would never ever fucking tell you because you do shit like this. I don't tell you anything that matters to me. And today is just another fucking great reminder of that. Great to see you. Lachlan Cross, 957cruisefm.ca is where you can find him at Lachlan Cross on Twitter as well. Thanks to Hey, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. It was a lot of fun. Nice to be back. Paul Atkinson did a great podcast this morning about Trump. Had a comedian on. True North Eager Beaver. Yes, I'll be on with you on Friday morning with Dilfo. Want to talk about Doug Ford? I'll talk about Doug Ford. So Friday morning, I'll be on with the guys from True North Eager Beaver. That'll be fun. You can catch us tomorrow. Lachlan and I'll be back. We'll get into some of that stuff as well. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock right here. Don't forget, I want to thank our friends and partners over at Cantork. If you're looking for a torque wrench you can't find anywhere, fastener, loosener, loosening, fastening, torque wrenches, heavy equipment, steel industry, road industry, the heavy machinery industry. You've got railroad. I mean, dude, some of these torque wrenches are massive. Some of these bolts that they need these torque wrenches for, they're too big. You don't have them. You need a custom solution. They're the best in the world. Go to cantork.com today. If you're looking for a industrial torque solution, they maintain, they fabricate, they build, they take care of, they clean all of your equipment, heavy machinery around the world. They do work around the world, but they're proudly Canadian in Edmonton, Alberta. Go to cantork.com for more information today. And of course, Ed's Fine Imports, his Gitch. We wear them, so can you. Go to edsfineimports.com today. Use promo code GITCH3 and you're going to find yourself in a luxurious pair of underpants, friends. Yeah, boxer briefs, pouch in the front. Can't miss with these. Gitch is the brand name. edsfineimports.com. Free pair with promo code GITCH3 when you check out. GITCH3, edsfineimports.com. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. Thanks to Lachlan Cross for showing up and absolutely bringing it today. Thank you for spending time with us. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Have a great day. We'll see you then. Bye.